David, welcome. Thank you for being here. I have to say, it's the first time I'm recording Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
This is your hometown.
That's right, my hometown.
What's growing up in Sydney like?
Sydney is, I think maybe what's growing up for me like, I think that's probably more interesting, that I can more relate to, which is, I don't know, I think I feel like I'm average Australian household growing up with a family. I went to school, I was fed and I was kept happy. So I feel like what's growing up in Sydney like, in a way, normal, but in a way in a good sense, nothing bad.
Would you say you have a positive outlook on life?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
And so you think it carries over to work?
Yep, work, everything. It's important to be positive, but not just, you have like pessimist, you have optimist. So I'm probably a little bit bordering onto optimist, but not stupidity optimism. So not naiveness, I hope. So a little bit, yeah. But generally positive outlook, I'd say, yeah.
Like you still assess the situation as is?
Yeah, that's it,
and
yeah.
make it factual on decision.
Pragmatism, that's it. I think that's important.
Why the dental niche?
Yeah. And honestly, because when I joined the company, so I joined as an employee, and I joined the company, and it just, that's what it did. It just had clients who were in dentists.
Yep.
But we did reach a point where we decided, hey, are we going to branch away from dentistry or not? So we just happened to have a client. So a situation came, and that's how we fell. We fell into this circumstance. But at some stage, we decided, hey, are we going to branch out of dental or not? And we played around with different niches. We can talk more about niche later on if you like, but we decided to stick to something that you have leverage in, that you have efficiency in.
Okay.
Proficiency in.
So you joined the company that already was in dental.
That's right.
Therefore giving you that leverage. And you explored other niches.
Yep. We explored. It's important to explore.
What type of other niches?
Yeah, one of the big ones is finance, which is financial planning. There we go. Yeah. So we went through a whole process. We have a board, and in the board you have to decide, okay, what are the things that we like? What are the things that we are good at? What are the things that we don't like, we're not good at? You know, what are the things we want to achieve? And then we went through the entire process, me and my ex-business partner, and then eventually we said, okay, these are the final niches that we can think of, and then one of them was the financial planning. It's like, okay, great, let's pick financial planning. So we went down the financial planning route.
What is your business structure?
Yeah, so structure as in how, I guess, what do you mean by structure?
Like, you know, because you went to an existing business, did you have to restructure? For example, to cater to the different niche, financial planning, when opportunity came, as opposed to dental clinics? Yep.
We originally had a structure for dentists, let's say. With the financial planning, it was more like a test and iterative approach. So we didn't make major changes for the business. And I think that's the way to approach things. When you try something big, you want to just test the waters, right? Just like when you do your first podcast, you're recording your hallway, like you said, right? In the school hallway.
In the office.
In the office.
That was next to a hallway.
Next to a hallway. Okay.
But the echoing happened, you know, because the space was so large and not soundproof.
Okay.
So that's something I picked up.
Got it. Same idea. So we just try a little bit, and so we started to do research. And my business partner at the time, very very detailed person. He did like 150 pages of research. Imagine that in a doc, 150 pages, bam. And then we went out and we said, hey. We reached out to some people, hey, we'd like to interview you, and so see what it's like, and then we're in conversations, but we never fully committed further. But the process of doing those research took ages, so we were very detailed, you know. Some say it's a good thing, some say maybe not, because we spent too much time and wasted a lot of time. But
was marketing something that you always wanted to do?
For me personally, I'd say no, but I always wanted to do something that was my own. I think that's a very important thing. Marketing is a vehicle to fulfill what that I want to achieve in life. At the time that I went into marketing, it was just something it gives you a certain type of lifestyle that I wanted when I was younger, back in the days. It actually started, funnily enough, when there was an ad on Facebook or whatever, and there was this guy called Ty Lopez, some marketing guy. He's like, of course, this video, very interesting. It's him shooting himself here in my garage full of his Ferraris. It's like, but you know what's better than these things? Books. And then he switches, and then you can see his bookshelf in the background. It's like books, and he talks about books. But pretty much, he got from that. He was selling the dream of what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to live on your own life, your own schedules, etc. And so that kind of what got me interested, because at the time I didn't want to be an employee. I didn't want to do the 9-to-5 grind. And so short answer is no, and the long answer is I want to do my own thing. But now I really like marketing. So yeah.
What's your understanding of entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is,
I know lifestyle is very enticing.
Yeah.
That comes with it.
Yeah. Very, very. It's
like what's another layer you could see?
Yeah, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. I think that's very important. Entrepreneur is in a way a profession, a job. So it's like, what kind of job do you choose? Do you want to have your own job, or do you want to work for someone else? And I think that's how I break it down and see it. Now, you can run your own thing, and it sounds great. Yeah. Oh, you live the riches, but not really. It's very challenging. You have to make a lot of sacrifices to make it work. So I'd say it's a very challenging profession. That's what entrepreneurship, with its own risks, but also rewards. And so the risk and reward ratio is proportional. So
what's the most challenging task or situation you were in running Purple Dental Digital?
The most challenging would be getting sales, getting clients, I'd say. Yeah, getting clients, and then continuously getting clients. So this is where it gets technical for businesses. No matter what kind of business you run, you can do work for the business, which is great. But if nobody wants you to do the work, then no one's going to pay your bills. And so you have to feed a team. For example, I have a team of 10. And so how am I going to keep them alive who depend on me with kids, family and kids, right? How are you going to do that? And so, yeah, it's about finding clients. I'd say getting clients would be the challenging thing initially. So it depends, and you have different stages of running a business, and you'll have different challenges along the way based on where your stage of your business is. Yeah, but getting clients, I would say.
So you prioritize getting clients first?
Yeah.
And then retaining clients.
Getting clients, retaining clients. Yeah. So a really oversimplified way would be you can fulfill certain things to provide value to, depending on why people want businesses. On one hand, you just want, like for example, I want to be able to provide value to people. Okay. And then what would that look like? So like, okay, marketing is great. Yeah, let's help these dentists. Great. Then it's like, okay, now I have something that can provide value. So I guess number one thing is have something you can do that can provide value for other people. But then the number two, which comes immediately, which will be have someone that's willing to pay you for it. Ideally pay you for it. You can do it as a hobby. Then that's not a job, right, which pays you. So yeah. So provide value and then get clients, get people willing to pay you, and then fulfill it and then give it to them. And it's simple as that. And then you repeat on a bigger scale.
How do you pitch to a client? How do you try to scale your client base?
Yeah. Pitching is, I wouldn't say it's the right word, usually. The key is to communicate, I think. Getting clients is about communicating, finding out their problem. It's kind of like in life, recruiting. It's like everything. It's kind of related, I see these things. It's just about identifying, hey, what problems do you have? And what can I do to solve? And so it's more of a process of just finding out if you can help them. That's it, yeah. And so it's never like a pitch. Here's all the A, B, C, D, E. It's more like, hey, you have a series of problems. Okay, I might have the solutions. If you're willing to engage, and we can work on that solution together. So and it's the same formula for recruiting. You know, when you're hiring someone, hey, I have a problem. Can you solve my issues? Yeah. Or even in the dating world, I guess, you know, I have a problem, no girlfriend, as an example. Okay. Same idea.
Yep. So you're very solution focused.
Yeah.
Which is good.
That's a great way of breaking it down. Solution focused.
Yeah. So your clients are in good hands.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. Yeah.
I came across a Seth Godin interview where he talks about branding, right? And the idea of direct marketing to brand marketing. How do you see these two concepts?
Branding is, there are different ways. There's always been different ways of people describing what branding is. And branding, well, a very popular way of thinking, if I remember, is what someone says about you when you're not in the room. That's what they describe as branding. So for example, it'd be like, hey, you leave the room and then you have your colleagues and they might say something about you. It's like, hey, Mel is this person, great person, for example. That's branding. That's in a way that's branding. So it's the association with something in however they feel. Another way, very interesting way of hearing about branding, which I really enjoyed, and this is from the Tai Lopez again, which I'm a big fan of. He says, branding is like when you're in a room with a group of friends, okay? And so let's say you're a bunch of girls, maybe just an example, okay? You're a bunch of girls and you're in the room, great. And then suddenly somebody comes in and let's say it's completely naked or for whatever reason, okay? But it's your good friend, you'll be like, oh, that's just Jenny. That's just Jenny, she's just doing her thing. That's an idea of branding. It's like, oh, okay. On the other hand, if you don't know them, you have your guard up. So imagine you're with a bunch of friends, you're in a social setting, and then suddenly this girl comes wearing, I don't know, just like wearing a gorgeous dress, fully done with her makeup, suddenly makes everyone feel threatened or whatever. You guys were just there for fun. Or it's just an example, okay? And then you're like, what the hell? And then you be on guard around that person. And it's like, that's another way of thinking of branding, which is something that you know and you have your guard up and you don't. So that's what branding is. And then direct marketing, back to linking to the topic of Seth Godin, is more, they don't know you. So you're trying to reach. So you're trying to push in a way, whereas branding is like you pull. They know about you, so you're attracted to them. But then direct marketing is like they don't know you, so you have to get in their face, and it's more intrusive. It's a different way of thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very technical. There we go.
Yeah, no, that's good. Seth Godin talks about direct marketing being more measurable.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Because there's metric.
Yes. Yes.
He's like, oh, it's clicks. You're selling through ads through Facebook or Google. Are they the two things that you've dabbled into?
Yes. Being able to measure your marketing is very important. There's a saying, what gets measured gets done. So this is Peter Drucker, a very modern day philosopher. Great book, highly recommend whoever's interested in business to read it. But measuring is important because like everything we do in life, we need feedback. Okay, are we doing a good job? How do you know if nobody gives you feedback? And then you just go on a loop of infinite spend or whatever it is. So we can never improve if we don't measure. And that's the key thing. Otherwise, you're spending your marketing, let's say digital marketing, or any kind of marketing, if you spend money, or anything you do really, if you cannot measure your effectiveness, then you won't ever know if you're good or not, if you're efficient or not. And so like in marketing, it's the same. So if you're spending, especially you're spending money, you have to be able to measure it. And that'll tell you, hey, you're doing a good job, or you're not doing a good job. And that's where the data comes, but you have to be able to measure. Yeah.
I completely understand when you describe branding as if you leave the room and people are in conversation, how will they associate you? How would people mention Purple Dental Digital if you weren't in the room?
Honestly, I don't know. I hope they mention good things, yeah, because we really try to work closely with our clients and really listen to them and hear what they want, their needs and stuff, to be able to have a good relationship ongoing. So I hope it's good.
I think a great trait is modesty. You're coming across very modest, because I've heard great things from your employee that Purple Dental Digital is a great place to work.
Well, that's great. Whoever told you that sounds very knowledgeable. Sounds very great. Yeah.
So speaking of managing people, is that something that you're big on? Staff management.
The hard thing about managing is ultimately recognizing that they are human beings, and no two human beings are the same. And everybody has their strengths, their weaknesses, and also they have emotion, temperament. And to be able to understand and marry those things in line with what the business needs or what you need them to do, what they're hired to do, etc. There's not always a perfect alignment. And so sometimes some people might lack in certain skill sets. And then that's where your job as a manager, I guess, or as a leader, to be able to, and how can you set them up for success? I think that's very important. And not just staff. It's like your relationship with your friends, for example, or your partner in a relationship, anything, your family even. How can you manage them? And it's a lot about managing expectations. So it's just about communicating, understanding, and then knowing what they like and what they want, and seeing if you can do that, but without compromising what you want. And so the challenging thing is to figure that out about people, which is not easy, yes, because growing up, nobody teaches us how do you manage? It's like your parents don't teach you that. Our parents don't teach us that. How do you make sure they get what they want? Like these are very social skills, and they don't teach us in school either. The most they teach us is, maybe how to write a resume when you're year 12 or something, when you're at the end. But they don't teach us much.
Well, would you say that you focus on the sales side of things to obtaining clients more, and leave the actual advertising campaigns to staff at this stage?
Yep. Yes and no. So when I joined the company, I had a business partner who did most of that. So I did focus a lot on the sales, but also on the back end in terms of operations, making things run smoothly and efficiently. But now that I've taken over the business myself, and I kind of have to do everything myself. But, so I have to figure it out. So that's the thing with running a business. I think you need to have a grasp of everything that goes on in the business. Just like everything you do, if you want to, there's a saying that I really like, which is you can't delegate what you don't know. So it would be like the blind leading the blind. It wouldn't work. So you have to have a grasp of what's happening. So I was doing a lot of sales, but now at this stage, I'm actually focusing on improving the product to be able to fulfill, to do a better job. So I don't have to do it, but I have a team now. It's about finding the right team to build them up for success, get them the right resources, the right training, the right tools, and make sure that they can fulfill and help the clients.
When you say product, can you elaborate on that part?
Yeah, well, product really, so we're a marketing company, and we help dentists get new patients. And product really just means, how do we help dentists get new patients? So that could mean advertising, that could mean systems, writing, creating assets, etc. Everything we can do that count as a product, because we're a service-based business. So it's not the conventional, a physical product in your hand. It's more like a service. Hey, our product is a service. So when I say building the product, means how are we improving our services? How are we able to help the dentists get new patients better? How can we do it? Yeah.
So is there standard packages you offer dentists when you offer them service, or you target plans for each individual practice?
Yep. For our clients, we offer, I think every dentist gets the same. Yeah, so we just have one product, which is we run advertising, and we advertise to get them leads. Yeah, so in a way, it's the reason I do it like this is it's simple to understand. And so when you are in the business, you want to make sure what you do is clear. When you try to do a lot of things, it's also difficult. So this is a good life lesson for anyone listening, which is you try to do everything. You're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And so for us, it's just one thing. We advertise for dentists on Facebook, and that's it. And that's kind of it. So we rarely simplified. Yeah, so sometimes some could say it's very simple, but some could say it's focused.
Do you do copywriting yourself to advertise for dentists?
Yeah, internally we do. So we have copywriters actually. So we have copywriters and world-class copywriters, really good. And in fact, most of what we do is very copy-led, actually, yeah, in terms of marketing. So copywriters is, yeah, I can talk for hours about copywriting. It is a whole
Please
art.
do. The audience really wants to know all the detailed nitty-gritties of running ads.
Yeah. Running ads and copywriting is huge. So because words is what we read. Let's say a website. So not so much running ads, but I can imagine anyone who wants to be able to promote themselves, they need to have really good written language. Or either they can shoot videos, they don't need to ever write. But copywriting, in a way, it's an extension of this. To understand how to, and this is stuff they didn't teach you in school. And I wish I knew this. Oh my God, that would help me. So like in uni, yeah. Well, let's go back to copywriting. So it's about articulating whatever it is you want to articulate, but also to have an idea of doing it really well, but also to be able to convey emotions and to elicit emotions in the person reading it. So in a way, it's like an art form. It's like watching a video. It's like watching a movie, and you feel, oh my God, I feel sad. But exactly the same thing, but in written form. So I see that kind of like a movie, and it's important to get to that kind of detail, and that's very hard because what they teach us in school is how to write complicated jargon language, you know. In conclusion, da 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 da. I remember in uni. Oh my God, scholarly articles, right? Back up what you're saying with, you know, with complicated quotes and, you know, vocabulary, right? The word vocabulary, yeah, fancy vocabulary. But in reality, like really good copywriting is completely opposite. It's actually just like you and I talking, and that's what great copy is. To be able to write like you speak, but to be able to do it in a way that is easy to understand. And a really good analogy that I've heard before, which is, if my 90-year-old grandma cannot understand what you are saying, then don't write it, okay? And that's the perfect way to articulate it. So if someone old comes to you and be like, what do you do? And then, yeah. So for example, what would you tell your 90-year-old grandma? What do you do? Yes.
Oh, you'd say, I have passions in this topic, and I have done certain research about this. This is how I work, you know, under what I'm passionate about. But please come and join me and see. I think letting people come into what you do, like follow you through those moments, helps them understand as well. So you give them like a broad understanding of what you do, and then fill in the blanks according to maybe what they already know. Because some people have a basic understanding, and some people have a very advanced understanding. So you kind of gauge your audience before you explain.
I'm going to challenge you a little bit, okay? So everything you just said, if I was your grandma, I would have no idea what you do. So one way could be, I interview people that are interesting. Right, simple words. So this is copy. So it's about articulating what you're saying as few words as possible, but in simple words that someone can understand. So let's try again. So Mel, I'm your grandma. Mel, what do you do?
Oh, you mean podcasting? Sorry, I went.
Whatever.
I went on thinking something more broader, like more general. If I was to
it could be
explain
general.
anything.
Yeah, explain what you say general, but in a way that's concise. It's someone that old, or the other way is, imagine a fourth grader, and they need to understand. So what would you say to a fourth grader? What do you do, Mel?
We talk about topics, and then we share it with the world.
Perfect. So that was like how many words? Like 10 words, right? And that's what copywriting is, to be able to have this kind of clarity, not be fancy, and just be like, hey, this is ABC, and that's good copywriting. And this extends, for those who are watching, life skills, just in general. Like, so best example I give is finding a job. Okay, you have a resume, and the resume is, every resume is this. Okay, I don't know when's the last time you sent a resume, but it would be like, hi, my name is Bob, and I'm a hardworking, motivated individual who thrives well under pressure, and I can adapt to changes, and I'll work my best. Right? Don't do that.
Stock standard. You think it's too standard.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the
Not
key is
persuasive enough for you.
Yeah. The key to good copy, persuasive copy, is like you're actually talking to somebody, and the secret is understanding the other person. And that's the secret in life, really, just to understand them, understand the other person. It's like, hey, what do they like? So if, for example, for those looking for a job advice, instead of saying, hey, I'm so good, it'd be like, hey Mel, I know that I've listened to your podcast, and I quite like the people you interview, especially that David guy. You know, apparently he seems to know a few things here and there, and here's some improvements I'd love to be able to provide to help you with your podcast. See, it's all about you, and so you got to do your research. Then suddenly the language changes, instead of I to you. And so these are all like copywriting nuggets, but if you can articulate these things simply and directly, but also make it about the other person, then you have really good copywriting. But also if you apply for a job like that too, you're probably going to get a job.
I like your examples when you're explaining things. Now you mentioned uni. What have you studied that helps what you do now in terms of running ads and marketing?
I studied Bachelor of Arts and I majored in philosophy. Okay, but I called it Bachelor of Attendance because honestly, I learned nothing. I did not learn much in uni.
Did you give feedback to uni lecturers that you've learned not much?
No, I mean, I learned whatever they taught, right? I learned whatever they taught, but it didn't help me in real life. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think, let's put it that way. It's challenging to study for 4 years. Yeah, especially like arts. Maybe if you're very deliberate, hey, I want to be this profession. You're very deliberate, but more often than not, it's not easy to know what you want in life without trial and error. So in uni, I just picked whatever degree I could get, and I done away with it, and yeah. So for me, it wasn't valuable. But I think as an adult, if I were to go uni now, it's because I choose something, and that's a completely different idea because I deliberately chose to understand this field that I'm entering into. Where it's coming straight out of high school, like just pick whatever I wanted, what our parents wanted us to pick.
So you think life experiences helps in redefining your purpose?
It's a great way of summarizing everything I just said. Exactly. Yes, life experience really helps.
So if you could choose how to do your current running of your business better, would you choose to study a little bit more?
Yeah.
On what topics do you think?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. In uni, I hated studying. In high school, I hated studying. Now I wish I had just have time. All I do is study, if I could. But not necessarily in uni, but there are resources out there that you can learn and continue your development to be able to learn and become a better person. And for my company, it'll be marketing. I'd be learning marketing, not from uni, but I would take courses from people, private people who've been there. So the thing with uni, I find, is it's difficult to learn how to run marketing from somebody who's never worked in marketing before. It's like it's very hard. Yeah, it's difficult to learn how to run a business. You mean from somebody who's never run a business before?
Yeah, so you mean they're more academics, yeah?
Yeah, academics.
Delivering theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not the same, say, with nursing, because or being a doctor, because you got to learn about the human body. It's real, and I think there's a place. So it's not everything is like what I'm saying, but in the field of marketing, specifically in my field, and I would not go to uni, but I would learn about courses about marketing. I would spend a lot of money, which I do. I spend a lot of money on education, learning, a lot of time, and then as an adult, and I love it.
How much money do you have to spend testing ads, running ads? Would there be money involved for market research to help your clients?
Yep. So
to attract leads.
Yep. if you're running ads, it is important to test. It's very important to test and to know what's working well or not. How much money to test? It really depends. So it's a very complicated question. So it depends. The answer is it depends on what are you testing and who you're testing it for. How much money do they have, right? So if they only have $100, then it will take $100. You have to do your best with $100 to test. If they have $10,000, on the other hand, you can probably test all $10,000. So I think it depends on the quality of how good you want to test, and also your ability to test. So what goes behind testing is you have to make the things to test, and that takes a lot of work. I think that's the easiest way I can explain it.
What happens if you've blown money beyond your client's budget, but not much leads were generated?
Yep.
How do you go about resolving that?
Yep. You have to find out why, first of all. Yeah. So before you do anything, you have to have a plan, a strategy in place, and you have to have it's like, hey, this is the goal, this is what we're trying to achieve, and then you spend the money. If you're spending well over, first of all, you might be doing something not right, because if you spend too much, you should be able to catch it, and that's why you have a craft if you're running ads. But in the case of, hey, let's say something does go beyond budget, then you have to break it down. You have to look, and this is where the data we talked about earlier. Hey, we got to measure the data. Now let's see, where has it gone wrong? You know, what's not working? And then you create new theories so you can test again to make sure it's working. So it's always, the thing with running ads is, it's like managing people, same thing. You're showing and advertising an asset to somebody, and you think they're going to buy, but you can never predict, are they really going to buy? It's like you have a staff, you think they're going to do this, but you can never predict they're human beings. And so with running ads, it's the same. You have a large indication of likelihood that this will succeed, but in many cases you can never be certain, and it could always just not work for any 100 reasons that it doesn't work. So you never know, and it's always tricky with marketing. Yeah.
Can you let the audience know what tools do you use to generate leads?
Yep.
Like behind the scenes.
Yep.
I know there's Facebook ads and Google. Any specific software you use?
Yep. So
to record data.
Record data. Okay. So Facebook let's say Facebook and Google Ads itself, they already give you the platform and they already measure the data. So that's really good. So that if you're running it, and your job is to make sure you are connecting. Let's start from the very beginning. So the way you run ads is you run an ad. Okay. You create an ad, and then they click on the ad and it goes somewhere, maybe a website or a form, and they fill in the details. After they go somewhere. Okay, so Facebook has the data on when they click on the ad or not. But when they go somewhere, this is where you need your own expertise. And anyone can use a series of tools. In this case, the easiest one is to make a website. Okay, so you have to have a tool that can make a website. And then beyond that, the last thing you need is have a way to make sure that if somebody fills out a form on the website or makes a purchase, it's connected to Facebook. So this is important as part of the tracking. So the simple answer would be understand how to track data. But I'm like, what's the tool? The tool would be Pixels, Facebook Pixel. That's easy one, and Google Tag Manager. It's very complicated. I think but I think.
You've dropped a few.
You know
You've dropped.
Facebook Ads, Google Tag Manager, Google
ideas.
Analytics, basic free tools. There are free tools out there. Just Google how to track conversions. I think that's usually the best way. Yeah.
Is that how you learn? Through somebody else giving you advice, or you Googled a concept and self-taught? Would you say you intuitively learn, intuitive learner, or would you say you prefer to, like I said, go to a course and have somebody in the industry teach you the ropes, to hold your hand through difficult times, to let you know there are probably difficult areas that you need to watch out for?
Yep.
How would you go about it?
I'd say I'm a bit of both.
Yep.
First, I'll try to figure it out, but more often than not, it's much better if someone has already been there, done that, to tell you what to do. And more often than not, you're not reinventing the wheel, and it's just better in terms of life, in terms of business. It's like, hey, if someone's been there, done that, then you take the shortcut and just do what they do, and then you can take your own spin on it. It's like everything. So when I learn, I look for people who've been there and done that. So I would try to figure out myself, but to a certain degree, where after a while you think, hey, it's not worth the time I'm spending, then I'm just going to go out and find it. Yeah.
Would you say that because you've consulted people that's helped you, therefore you don't have many setbacks in growing your business? Or do you think along the way there's still difficult times, in reaching to the point you are now?
Yep. There are definitely, it's definitely great to have people help you. And in fact, I'd say that's a large part of the certain level of success that I have reached today. I don't want to say I'm super successful, but I've reached a certain level of success because of the people that have been guiding me. And mentors in life are instrumental to me. It has been. And I think it's important for everyone to get mentors in life, and because they've been there, done that. Yeah. I have mentors in everything, in business, in sales, in therapy, psychology, for my physical health, mental health, everything. I have people guiding me and telling me what's good, and that's really good. I wouldn't say I have no setbacks because I have these people, but it's definitely reduced a lot of errors that I could have made because somebody else, you're standing on the giant's shoulders, people who are looking out for you and who are just more experienced. It's like you can cook, for example. You can figure out how to cook yourself, or you can get a professional chef just to teach you, here are the ingredients, here's the way you flip the pan, and that's the way it's done. And then you save yourself a lot of effort rather than going on YouTube, figure trial and error, rather than someone just teaching you. And it's just like that, but for other things in life too. So yeah, definitely, it's very good to get help.
It is good to not make the mistakes that other people have already made, and they've shared that you could detour from that if you followed my steps, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tremendous. You have mentors in your life. Do you
Yeah,
have
a lot.
mentors?
A lot.
Who are your mentors in life?
Mentors in, for example, certain industries. Like let's take podcasting, for example. There are people that have already done parts of podcasting, to maybe pre-production, to during filming, to post-production. So it breaks up into so many different categories. Yeah, you would literally check in with people that are in each field. You have editing, for example. Then you have audio engineering. Then you have filming. I recently worked with a cinematographer on an ad campaign, and I learned a lot from the cinematographer. The way they filmed, the way they frame, the way they use LUTs, the way they storytell. You mentioned copywriting is about convincing people, explain to people why they need to use a service, why they need to use a product through simple language that they can resonate with. Cinematography is like visually telling a story. So I completely understand what you were explaining before.
Yeah, nice.
There's another way of showcasing concepts, which I find completely, fascinating.
And you have mentors teaching you these things, right? How to do these things.
So I literally, have a notepad ready and a pen. Today I'm using something digital.
Cool.
Because it's a bit hard to write under the sun. Too much glare. But which brings on to my next question, AI. We use so much software tools, digital appliances to help us remember things, to take notes, to learn, to research. Would you say that you utilize that for marketing?
Yes.
Because it's totally on the rise. It's something so trending.
Yes, AI is the future, and I'm a big believer of AI. I really like AI. ChatGPT, that everyone knows of, very popular. We use it. I use it myself for almost anything. I ask about how to do this, how to do my taxes. I asked about even marketing questions, because it's an accumulation of all the information of people who have been there, done that, probably on the internet, but it's probably better than, it's very quick and it'll tell you. So ChatGPT is one of the tools that we really like to use for almost everything. It also helps with copywriting, but don't just use, so it makes things faster. AI cannot replace humans in some areas. Right now, it still can't. And the final output's always better with a human. But what AI can do is, in the context of marketing, for example, you can write copywriting, it can create an image, it can give you 80%, and then you can get the first draft really quickly, and then it's just about editing. But you can get to the first draft really, really quickly, and that's the power of AI. So in the context of marketing, it can help you write copy. It can help you write code even, and it's so powerful. And it's just about refining it and fitting it into, it can help you write a resume if you really wanted to, but of course, you have to be the one to refine it.
So how do you want to grow and scale Purple Dental Digital?
Yeah.
If that's on the charts, because I know that sometimes people don't want to scale because that comes with even further, responsibilities. I understand that people I've interviewed in the past have said, "Oh, I scaled businesses up to like $1 million, 2, 3, 7-digit figures, 8-digit figures, and realized they lost sleep, lost quality of life, lost family time, lost personal time, lost personal space because they're always in meetings. They'll have to deliver information, train staff, lose hair over it, gain white hairs maybe." So how do you see the balance between having more responsibility to achieving to the next level? Because once we've obtained something as humans, we sometimes want to keep climbing. It's like some people have it in them. Would you say you fall into that category? Like, you've reached a certain level in your business and you might feel like you've plateaued, but you want to take it to the next level?
It's really dependent on the individual, and what they want out of life, out of their business, or in unison together. So in this case, some people really want to be huge. They want to work with everyone. They want to scale to 100 locations or whatever it is. They want hundreds of clients. For me, not so much. So for Purple Dental is a service-based business. So there's a limit. It's fulfilled by humans. So there's a limit to how many we can fulfill. It's not like a machine. You print a product, which is different. It's also not easy, of course, but it's not as scalable. And also, I can't work with 1,000 dentists, for example. I just can't do that. Not in Australia, because also our business model, anyways, is local marketing. So we work with somebody in your area. We can't work with someone else in the area. So we can only work with limited amount of people in Australia. Let's put it that way. Like less than 100 probably. We can only work with less than 100 people.
Are you currently only focusing in the Sydney market?
No, Australia-wide.
Australia-wide. Okay.
Digital marketing, you don't need to be in a specific location. So they need to be, but when you're actually doing the marketing, you don't need to be. So we can work with anyone, and that's the beauty of the digital landscape nowadays. We communicate via Zoom online. Everything's online. So very handy. So for me though, it's not so much about scaling, because the thing with, if you're working with so many people, your level of service goes down, and you want to be able to maintain a certain level of consistency in how you're doing right now, and to be able to provide the service and give the attention to each of the clients. One thing you hear quite a lot from clients, which is, "Oh, we're just another number," and we want to avoid that if possible. Generally we just want to avoid that. And I think that's the key to providing a better service, a better product, is you're able to listen and hear feedback from your client, and you have the capacity to do that. If you go too big, you earn money, cool, but then you won't be able to provide a better service.
Let's talk about current market trends. What trends are you currently seeing in the digital marketing space that are impacting your business?
Yep. Trends in the digital marketing space, I think AI is definitely huge. You can see kind of you can see the development of AI, how people can quickly make something, speed. So AI changes the speed in the digital marketing space in how fast you can do something. And the faster you can do something, the more experiments you can run, the more feedback. So usually it's about who can deploy and test the most. I heard this recently. He or she who tests the most will get the most furthest because they have the feedback, and it's a feedback loop. And this goes back to when we talk about data and measuring. So I think AI is becoming a huge trend in marketing, and people being able to do things that they normally wouldn't be able to do without a huge budget. For example, create a video, but they can make a video now with AI really quickly. And who knows, maybe create podcast content. There we go, yeah, with AI. We don't need a real interviewer or interviewee, and the podcast can make it eventually, you know. But that'll put you out of the job. So that's not good.
Well, I just think I would agree that some things just are irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you need that human touch. Yeah. And people like to engage in conversation with humans, I believe, more so than robots, I'm sure. But AI definitely has sped up the processes, you know, the workflow. It's given us convenience. But I think there's definitely still importance in human interaction, you know, putting that in the forefront of things.
Yeah.
So any future projects or collaborations that you have on the charts?
Yeah. So right now my business is a service to be able to help dentists generate leads. Now, and all of this is part of, I have my own personal vision to be able to make, my personal vision is to help people who can help the world. Okay, so that's like my grand visionary future. But in terms of for where the business fits is, in this case, we have helping dentists to help their patients. But beyond that, I also want to be able to help dentists, not just to get new patients, but also to be able to provide more value to our clients. And this goes beyond just marketing. So marketing becomes one arm. And so one of the projects that I would like to create in the medium term, I would say, is to create a forum, a platform where these dentists can put a bunch of them together and to be able to provide value to them holistically as a group. And so this is where I know people in my life who can be really valuable to the dentist. For example, my wife's father is a Fortune 50 executive coach. So he's worked with Fortune 50 companies, you know, in the world, and he can provide value about leadership, about coaching to these dentists. I think that would be great. I know people who are being in the industry forever, but who are not being a dentist, but in how to run the clinic, to be able to help convert, how to be able to help provide a better experience. People who are industry experts like that, and to be able to provide them to the dentists, so share the knowledge will be really good, because I know that a lot of clinics can use the help. And the final example would be like, I know people who are experts in mental health, psychology. Yeah. And one of the things I always wanted to do is, in dentistry, you have, I think it's the top 3 suicide professions. Yes, by suicide.
Most stressful.
And stressful, yeah. And
high suicidal rates.
High suicidal rates, yes. And if I can make a dent in that even a little bit, that would be great. And so I would be bringing a psychologist in, for example, to teach about mental health, for example, because nobody teaches us about mental health. Yeah.
So you have suggested to clients you've worked with, so the dentists, do you think your clients will come to you and say, hey, I'm going through a rough patch? So you have to morph into not just a marketer for them, but a confidant, you know, a friend.
Yeah.
Or do you think you don't mix business with personal life?
I'm always open to hearing out, but I wouldn't say my clients come to me for this, yes. Because marketing is very transactional about business. How can you grow my business? So it's very about business outcomes. So that's why the group that I'm trying to create is separate. it's not just about the outcome of growing your business. It's about the outcome of growing as a person, or receiving value on a personal level, not just beyond growing new clients. So yeah, I don't think they come to me as a confidant, but I'm always happy if anyone's listening, and always happy to listen and to be able to give any feedback where, you know, if that's asked for.
The audience wants to know
Yeah.
your budget. Like, how do you set pricing
Yeah.
for your clients?
Yep. Pricing for clients. Okay. Ultimately, it's a very interesting concept, which is, what is anything worth? Okay. So we'll go really broad and then we'll go more specific. Ultimately,
I want to correct myself. Not dentists are so, you know, but like certain clients.
Clients. Yes.
Would want to be goal orientated. Like, what can you bring to me that stands out? Like, how does Purple Dental Digital stand out from other marketing agencies?
Oh, okay. Well, ultimately, it's what we pay is value. We pay for value, and this is an important distinction to recognize, which is we want, if we think something's worth the value, that's what we're going to pay for. Yeah. So how much is a house worth? Okay, it's worth close to the neighboring house. Cool. But the real answer is, how much is anything worth? Is what the seller is willing to sell it for, and what the buyer is willing to buy it for. That's it. But how do we come to that? This is it's not a science. It's like a mix of art and science. Then it goes down to, okay, how do we see something as valuable? And is it worth the price? And this is a very complicated answer, but generally it comes down to trust. Okay, what do you need to be able to trust that somebody can perform to a certain level? You can, which is also to do with certainty. Trust means, what's your certainty that it will give you the value that you want? You're going to see a doctor, and it's a surgeon, okay, knee surgeon, and so there's an outcome that you're wanting, which is to fix your knee. But are you willing to pay $12,000? Right? That's up to you to decide. But if you are willing to pay $12,000, then that's valuable. Now the next question becomes, is he the right doctor to be able to do this? Right? How do you know that they are going to solve your knee problem? Then this comes down to, how many cases have they done? What's their accreditation? What's their history? What's their experience? And what do other people say about them? Right? And these are all part of what influences and how much you charge, etc. And so from a pricing point of view, these are the factors. So how can you, from a buyer's perspective, is how can you best gauge that the other person can provide you the value? But from a seller's perspective is, how can you best demonstrate that you can provide the value? And this is where we get into marketing, which is, it's all about standing out.
Equilibrium, striking the happy medium.
Striking the medium, that's it.
An agreement, agreed pricing point.
Exactly. And so this is about expectations and meeting the expectations. Can we solve your problem? And what is your problem? So a lot of people don't even know their problem. They say, I just want more, you know. But if that's why you have these conversations. But that's why I say it's not a pitch. It's always about finding out, hey, what exactly is your problem? And can we fix it? And then how can we demonstrate that we can fix it, for example? Or here's an example of what we've done. And that will tell you, that'll give you certainty, hey, I've done it. So that's kind of a very broad way of thinking about how you structure. So like anything you do, if you run your own business, if you apply for a job, instead of money, it could be other things. So they're paying you money, but you're also negotiating to what you can give them in return, and what's the value you're providing in return. And that's the key. It's just to be able to really understand what is valuable, to be able to articulate, hey, I can provide the value.
What's your proudest moment, a success story, where you helped resolve a problem and gave a solution? Do you have or is it every day you think it's normality now for you, that you are so great at what you do that
I would not
you're very confident?
I do not feel like I am so great at what I do, to be really honest. Every day I struggle with the thought of, am I doing good enough? I can do better. This is the mindset I always feel. I think what I am proud of is having a team I think it goes to the team. I think to the people, to me, I'm really proud of, which is having the team who are doing great things and who have honed their craft for years. For example, my copywriter, very good. He's been doing it for forever, and he understands all the strategies, invested all the time. Then knowing that you have people in your team who have these expertise or who have the traits that can deliver whatever it is you want to at a really high quality. I'd say that's my proudest moment, which is in my team, in being able to have a team of people who can do the work, because I'm not the one doing the work most of the time. I'm like, I don't know, a director in the symphony, but I'm not the one playing the musical instruments. But it takes the people who are playing the instruments to be able to make the band, as they say. Yeah.
Like a jack of all trades you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
You do need to understand, because otherwise you can't delegate what you don't know, which is a great way of understanding leadership.
Yep. Leadership, managing everything, Just even the business, to be able to run, you need to understand what's going on,
Past risks you've taken, or do you see risks as opportunities to grow, to learn?
Yep. Every day is risk taking. If you own a business, yes, it's always about opportunity cost, and not just in business, in life in general. I think it's a way of thinking about it. What is the risk and reward? So if you do something, how much are you going to risk? How much time or money? It could be anything, and these are all risks. Usually, the higher the risk, the higher the reward, but also the higher of the chance of losing something in return. So it is, to find that balance is not easy, and that's up to the individual. But I would say every day is taking a lot of risks, and the hardest things comes from the biggest risks.
Would you say you like to play safe, or do you think you don't mind taking risks?
I think on a scale between, let's say, 0 is I'm an accountant, everything needs to be perfect, no risks, okay, and 10 means
you're a gambler.
I'm a gambler. I love to gamble. I love to just jump off the cliff and see what happens. Hey, maybe I'll survive. Okay, I'm probably like a 6.5 to 7, I would say. So a little bit. I have tendencies to take risks, but also not extreme. Yes, because you have responsibility. You have a team. You have people's well-being in your hands.
What is the biggest budget you've had given to you to test and run ads for your client?
The biggest budget?
Yeah. Have you had fun moments where your dentist says, you know what, I've XYZ dollar value to
we're talking
to help
like
me scale my practice.
Yeah.
So how do you advise that particular dental practice?
You start lower generally. So we have big budgets, for example, like 50K a month, for example, and that's a lot of money. 50K a month, that's an example. 50, 60. Now, usually though, we recommend, hey, you start a bit lower and test. So marketing is always about testing, and just life in general. It's about testing. Hey, test a little bit, see how it goes, perform, get a benchmark, and then you can spend a bit more if you like. So that's a safer way of approaching it, and that's like the risk profile. Some people will be like, put all the money you can and stuff, but yeah, you take steps in measuring, because ultimately someone else's money, and you do want to be sort of conservative. Yes, you don't want to be wasting money. That's the worst thing you can do.
So not wasting resources.
Don't waste resources. There's limited resources in a business. In any business, a limited resource, and the key to doing well in the business to be able to allocate and distribute the resources efficiently. So in the case of marketing, means you put resource out and you get something in return. That's a return on your investment. Yeah, but life is the same.
Okay. How do people find Pebble Dental Digital?
Yep.
If they need help with all things marketing.
Yep. If they need help with, if someone's a dental clinic, they need help, they can find us on Google, purpledentaldigital.com. Plug. But if somebody wants to know about marketing in general, add me on LinkedIn. That's probably another way of doing it. Just look up David G. I think that's it, and then you'll be able to find me. Yeah, I'd say Google website. That's probably it. Yeah. So ironically, we're not very big on our own social media, but we do it for other people. Yeah.
Fine. So David, what makes Purple Dental Digital different to other agencies?
Yeah. In the marketing space, okay. And what makes really good marketing is to be able to resonate with your audience. If you want to create a good product, let's say for your client, you need to understand their clients. In this case, our service is to help the clients to get more of their clients. This requires really understanding. Okay, you can do research, true, but if you've never set foot in a dental clinic before, how can you know what's the best way to make them stand out? And how can you know about their audience? You wouldn't. And so in the marketing space, you have an advantage if you have a direct relationship. Okay, let's say if you physically worked in the dental practice, you're more likely to understand your audience and produce better marketing for your audience. And it's just like, I guess, for whoever's listening out here, which is if you have insider knowledge about the industry, about the audience, something that most people only on the inside you understand, then you can produce much better result. And so same with us. So what I've done is, I partner up with somebody now whom I met, who changed the trajectory of my life. Okay, and her name is Elizabeth. So she actually runs a dental clinic, and I came across her maybe a few, like 6-7 months ago now, and she's been in the game for 20-30 years. But
As a dentist?
No, she's done every single role in a clinic, except actually being a dentist herself. But she understands what a dentist does. Just besides drilling the teeth, she knows how to run a clinic. And her focus has been what makes a better experience for the patient, for the customer. And she spent 30 years trial and error and just figured it out herself. And she was amongst all the dental clinics I work with because of her methodical nature of just trial and error, OCD. She's like that, like perfectionist, wants to do the best and just do it better and just figure it out. Of testing, constantly testing. That she's like an elite level someone who works in a dental clinic. And by coming across her, and I realized, holy cow, she's so good. And now we are in communication. And so what I've done is we kind of worked out a way where we can work together to be able to help dental clinics, but also she gives me feedback. But I'm talking feedback on a daily basis. We speak to each other almost every day. And to be able to have someone on the inside tell you, hey, this works really well, this doesn't, and they give you really close feedback. That is a competitive edge that other marketing companies do not have, I would say, because okay, you do marketing, but you've never been in a clinic, and I've never been. I have, but I've never worked in a clinic, so that's completely different. And to be able to marry the best of both worlds, that's the secret, I guess, to Purple Dental. But then I would say for anyone else who wants to have a competitive moat, it's always better if you're providing a solution to somebody, but if you experience the problem yourself, then suddenly you know what's the best way to solve this problem because you needed the solution. And this is the idea where I can do things that other companies cannot for this very reason, because I have somebody on the inside who is in the industry and we speak on a daily basis. So we're able to provide a feedback to provide the best product for a dentist. Yes, because someone who's been in the dental industry for 20-30 years is help building the product themselves.
Can I understand dentists' services largely are based around, adjusting teeth, putting crowns, dentures, cosmetics, whitening? Is this something that you advertise?
Yeah, we
dentists?
mainly do cosmetics. We're
Dental
talking
whitening.
major dental treatments. So we're talking veneers, aligners, teeth straightening. We're talking braces, dental implants as well. So replacing all of your teeth in the surgery. Yeah, big major surgeries. Yeah.
Right. So do you reckon each dental clinic, when you advertise for them on these major dental works, the copy similar when you write, or do you have to reinvent the wheel? Are you always coming up with
There are certain
ways of writing?
Yep. There are certain levels of things you can use. For example, the motivation behind people sometimes are quite universal. We have universal needs. The need to belong, the need to be loved, and some have different needs, to be superior. And
They need to look good?
they need to look good, yes.
Because that's
For-
cosmetic dental.
Yeah, to look good, but for what? And that's the motivation behind looking good. I want to look good because I want to feel respected, right? I want to feel like recognized, someone recognize me as beautiful, or whatever it is. Or I want to feel confident in my smile. And so certain levels of this, there are similarities between advertising, but there are a lot of nuances. And what makes good marketing is to be able to understand that somebody who wants one treatment, let's say for veneers, I don't know if you know, let's say braces. Let's say somebody who wants braces versus somebody who wants dental implants. Do you know what implants are? It's kind of like you're screwing a teeth pretty much, where you have a missing teeth and you screw it in a new one. So it's functional. The two different motivations behind these are different. And what's important is to be able to articulate the differences at this level. And this is where if you do everything the same, it's not going to be as effective as you put in the extra effort to make everything a little bit different and nuanced, and that'll produce better results from a marketing point of view. So if you do your own marketing, it's the same. You might have different audiences, and you want to make sure that putting the work and write to these different audiences. If you put in the work, you'll probably get better response because they will feel like you understand them and you resonate with them. Yeah, and
I
that's
can tell
very
that
important.
you've hung around dentists a lot. You know all the differences of the works that the dentists offer.
I think I don't hang around them enough. If I could, I would hang around them much more often. Yeah, but it is important to understand, I think. Yeah. So we spend a lot of time actually asking about, hey, tell us about your audience. Why are they doing this? Okay, why is this better? Understanding just the process of how a dentist does things, because then you're able to articulate the process better. Yeah, and that's what is also a part of, I guess, marketing in general, which is you got to have a way to differentiate yourself, stand out from the market. Even from marketing or even just in the job field, you want to find a new job. How can you make sure you're better than someone else who is also applying for the same job? More often than not, someone hiring, they get 100 resumes. How does your resume stand out, right? Or you do podcasts. How do you make sure your podcast is better than other people? If that's what you want to go. So it just depends on your motivation, I guess.
I honestly think that I can't better somebody else's podcast. What I can offer is maybe a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
I
in a way.
certainly wouldn't even challenge any podcasters. I have a lot of podcasters that I listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of hosts that I really admire.
Yes.
Yeah, that I completely resonate with.
And that's good. That's good. So in a way, the way you're different, I'll tell you what it is. What I think it is. I think the way that your podcast is different is that you just do what you like. So you're not trying to be different, but I think what's more is you're just doing what you feel like is interesting. And if you're not trying to do things for other people rather than for your own sake, then you are the biggest difference. So ultimately, nobody can be you. Nobody can be Mel. And that's from that perspective, from a podcasting, only you can interview and the things that you find interesting, and you can find out what it is about other people, and that's what makes you different. And yeah, so that's one way of doing it. And other ways would be like finding something that's a competitive edge that nobody else can do. Being yourself is usually a competitive edge that no one can do. Yes, and that helps. Yeah. So in our case, for example, I have Elizabeth. I partnered with Elizabeth. Nobody has someone who actually works in the clinic helping with the marketing, in some sense, giving the feedback, and that's quite powerful.
Is Elizabeth always on the calls, liaising with clients? Is she following up with clients?
Not so much. She actually does coaching. So one guy that I follow called Alex Ramosi, very popular. Recommend anyone who's interested in marketing learn.
Yes.
But pretty much the idea is, you ultimately if you do really well, you want to provide a solution focused.
Yes.
You provide solutions to all the problems that they have. And marketing for dentists, it's only one part of the solution that they're looking for. What they're really looking for is new patient. But the answer is not just marketing, because actually you get the lead from the advertising, but there's actually 3 or 4 more steps that needs to happen. And the marketing doesn't cover that. And this is where, by partnering with Elizabeth, she's done all the other solutions except the marketing. And this is where we are able to provide a better solution, because we're solving the bigger problem, which is actually conversion, their ability to communicate with the patients and this kind of stuff. So Elizabeth provides a solution for things that the marketing cannot. And that's what makes the marketing even better, because we work as a holistic system and we can help them out. Yeah.
I just had another idea, another question, is that, are you particular about what type of dental practice that you want to work with? Or is it just because they're in cosmetic dental area?
Yes, very particular. This is very important. Because you can only work with we can only work with a limited number of people, because we're bound by geography. So we work with someone in your city, we can't work with someone out down the road. That's unethical, it also not good for the results. This exclusivity limits how many people we can work with. Okay. Beyond that, actually, it's like a weapon. Okay, so being able to market, being able to generate patients, is really powerful. But also with great power comes great responsibility. And what I mean by that is, if the dentist is unethical, they produce poor quality work. I am essentially harming these patients, which is really bad. And that's the last thing I want. So I want to be able to work with clinics, dentists who are ethical in their practices and how they do things, to be able to provide really good quality of work to their patients, great experience for the patients to feel like they really matter, not people who just churn through people like a number. So all these things are quite important. And this goes back to, how can I be selective? How do I know if a dentist is doing good work or not? Goes back to having somebody who does know, and to be able to tell you, hey, so this is where Elizabeth will be able to say, hey, these guys are not doing it right for ABC reason, then I probably wouldn't work with them. And so it's having once again, it's having that somebody on the inside to tell you what's good or not. And so I can be selective and be like, hey, these guys are not good for these reasons, either ethically, or maybe they're really bad in their product or whatever it is, for whatever reason. So, so we're a little selective. There we go.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you've thought about it.
Yes.
From an external, environmental factor, geographic factor. You partnering up with Elizabeth definitely takes your business to a whole new level.
Yep.
Right.
And once again, it goes back to one thing I'm proud of is knowing the people. Knowing people like my team, knowing people like Elizabeth, who are able to just do great stuff, and then I just stitch it together. I think of myself like a connector. Yeah.
I'm very impressed that you're very people orientated. You care about the clients. So unethical dentists you want to steer off. I think longevity is there for your business. That integrity is there.
Yeah. And
so.
Very important. Super important.
I like your ethos in how you run your business.
That's the goal. Work with the best. All right. Work with people who are providing the most value to the society. That's my goal, anyways. Yeah. So to be able to provide the most value I can to people who will also provide value to others, and that's my own personal, I guess, focus.
I think you've hit home.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for helping me promote.
With pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to explain to the audience about all the complicated facets of marketing, and bringing your own experiences into your explanations. Really makes you different to other agencies. Thank you.
No, my pleasure.